Lieutenant Allen or Lieutenant
Yep.
Mahoney, if someone let me know when you hit record.
Yep, I just hit record, so we're going.
Okay, and we are recording in Civic Clerk. Alder Stevens, you can start with opening the meeting.
All right. I'm going to open the meeting of the Protection and Policy Committee for Monday, April 12th, 2021. Roll call. Alder LaFave.
Here.
Alder Vanderleest.
Here.
Also myself, Craig Stevens. Also, we have three other alders, Alder Gerlach, Alder Dorf, and Alder Burnett joining us tonight. I will take a motion to approve the agenda.
Motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
All in favor, right?
Aye.
I'll take a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
If I'm going too fast, let me know.
Yep, 1 second, just catching up. All right, we are on to item number 1.
Okay, regular business, consideration with possible action on the appeal of Demise Rodriguez regarding the denial of his application to keep 3 pets. This was held from our 3/22 meeting. Staff?
Yes, I think the portion that was held over was the committee wanted to review the letters from citizens and the additional packet information that was missing from the packet at the last meeting. So if the committee has had an opportunity to review, I'm not sure if at this point you would like to open up the floor for further questions, discussions, or if you had any more questions for Officer Mavis, who is on the line as well.
I do see that the documentation was uploaded, so Alder LaFave.
Yes, maybe should ask, is there anybody here who would like to speak on it? And then I would make a motion to open the floor if there is.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, the floor is now open. Is Mr. Rodriguez here?
I don't think
I
so.
don't think he is.
No.
Well, this was brought back from last time because we didn't have the documentation from the neighbors explaining the situation over there. It looks like all of the documentation that did come over was against the approval of the additional animal. Is that correct, Officer May?
Yeah. Were you guys able to review a lot of the, there's a lot of negative feedback, which is why I made the decision to deny it. I thought if based on these letters, I could not safely approve of it. And, you know, I tried to appease the neighbors, the majority of the neighbors, because they're the ones that have to deal with this, obviously, given the number of negative responses. I know there was one letter that was not in support or against, and then it happens to be a detective. There's also a retired patrol officer. He's the one that reported the complaints, Dave Van Aram. He lives in the neighborhood as well. There's many neighbors who have just kind of had it with it. And so based on that, I denied the permit based on the number of calls that we've had in non-compliance. We have not had anything since then, but based on that, that's why I could not comfortably approve of it. And it would be best for him to go before Protection and Policy and have it addressed here.
Alder LaFave?
Yes, I had to leave the meeting early, but he had mentioned that the dog was not his. It was it his daughter or something brought a dog over? And that was the dog causing the problem. Is that true?
There are multiple dogs. He had 5 dogs in his possession at one time there, all of which were Chihuahua mixes. And it sounds like there are multiple dogs that were there. He's claiming one of them was his daughter's. Whether that's the case, I'm not sure. I did not take that bite report.
Yeah. So how many, excuse me, how many dogs does he have now?
He has 3.
3. And those are his.
To the best of my knowledge, yes. I
Yeah.
don't know if any of these other dogs come and go to the address regularly. The way our ordinance is written is that any animal that you own or that is in your possession or that you harbor is your responsibility. That even goes for people who pet sit other people's animals.
And he did mention that he had the fencing put in, the underground fencing.
That we can't enforce that. So even if he does that, he mentioned that he had one electronic fencing collar. So he would have to take one collar off the dog, put on another dog. And there's nothing that we can do legally to enforce that. So if he chooses to not install the fence, there's nothing that we can do for that. It's a legal issue.
Yeah. So what is the recommendation, that he has to get rid of all the dogs?
No, my recommendation at this point is that he's to have the city's limit, which is 2. And I'm denying his permit based on the number of neighbor complaints. All the neighbors are against him having more than 2 dogs, except for one neighbor who I'm told reportedly has some issues himself with his own dogs running loose. So, yeah.
Craig, I see someone else on, I don't recognize. Maybe there are some people, you can ask if there's anybody who wants to speak on this.
Sure, hold on. Alder Dorf.
Thanks for calling me, because I do have to leave. And I didn't see the other letters. The letter that is attached really, Officer Mavis, goes off into a lot of different directions. Seems pretty much based on hearsay about, it's my understanding that this might have happened, and we don't like the tires in the yard and the garbage cans, etc. So I guess were the other letters at least a little more specific and more accurate than this letter is one that I would just throw out, because it's based on hearsay and it talks about all kinds of other things they don't like, but it really isn't talking about the dogs. But were the other letters complaints more about the dogs?
Yes, they were specifically about the neighbors who they themselves have been bit. Their children have been bit. They did not report any of this to police, which is actually against state law. If you have knowledge of a dog bite, whether you're the victim or an involved party, uninvolved party, it needs to be reported for health reasons. Damaged clothing, dogs running loose, being chased.
Okay.
So all those letters should have been enclosed, and everyone should have gotten copies of that.
I bet that maybe, well, was in the last meeting, or I'm not on the committee, so maybe I don't get that because I'm not on the committee. So I only
Sure.
have to see the one that's attached.
I can try to, I'm trying to do with this with my mobile phone, but let me see. Celestine Jeffries, she's emailed me all these things. So I'm going to see if I can minimize my screen here and find them and read it to you.
While she's doing that, who's Galaxy S20 FE?
Would that be mine? Lisa Bursell?
I don't think so.
Craig
But is
asked
Lisa
if
here
she
to
wants
talk about
speak.
this?
Okay, can you guys still hear me?
Yes.
Okay, would you like me to read the letters?
Yes,
Okay, so this one says, let me try to zoom in here. My understanding is that, these are scans, so forgive me.
This is the
Um,
one we have. That's the one we have, actually, that starts with my understanding is that.
Yes, people had, okay, so
Yeah.
there's that one. It was to my knowledge that we weren't sure if everyone got documents, so I wanted to
Okay.
play it safe.
Okay.
There's another one, No Way, did you get that one?
No, only the one that's attached. Only one is attached,
Mhm.
and that's the
Mhm.
one you started to read.
Okay.
That's the only one we all have.
Oh, that's unfortunate. Okay, so the next one is No Way. I object to the resident at 155 Burgundy Court having 3 dogs, and I'll tell you why. These are not responsible pet owners. They're dogs, and I have seen 4 come out their front door, are left unsupervised all the time. The first 3 months after they moved in, my neighbor down the street was bitten. They roam all over the neighborhood in summer. Many times they have been to my front lawn, pooping away. I tell them to go home and they growl at me. Other neighbors have called the police because the dogs are roaming all over their all over their house twice, roaming all over their neighborhood. The police have been out to their house twice to talk to them. I believe there are 2 or 3 families living in the house. That's why they have so many dogs. Please, for the peace of this neighborhood, limit the dogs to 2. Thank you. The next letter is, we do not agree with the resident to allow them to keep 3 dogs on the property at 155 Burgundy. They do not have them properly trained, as they frequently run loose in the neighboring area. This past fall, one of them bit me while I was walking on the road. They clearly cannot control that many animals, nor do they care to, as I have never seen them on a leash. We strongly ask that this request is denied. Thank you for asking my neighbor's opinion. The next one is understanding that there are 4 to 5 dogs in the household, not 3. The dogs do not stay in the yard. They run all over the neighborhood, and the neighborhood on, I gotta zoom in on this, it's handwritten. On other sides of Deckner as well. They have been in our yard. Neighbors have told us that they have been bitten by the dogs. This neighbor seems to think the dogs never leave his side. The next one is, I disapprove of them getting this. These dogs are mean. They have bitten my son 2 times and have been broken the skin. They have also attacked my neighbor while walking, also bleeding. The dogs are always running loose in our yards. I have to check if they're letting my dog out. I have invisible fence for my dog. They may say 3 dogs, but many times there are more. I've seen 3 to 5 running around after they bit my son. We went to talk to them, hard to understand, but was asking if their dogs have shots and are up to date, and the lady didn't answer us and just cried. I said no, or I say no. We have called the police many times on this matter. The next one is, I am a neighbor in direct view of 155 Burgundy Court. I am aware of the many dogs that have been at this house for over a year. I believe that there are or have been at least 5 small dogs living in this house. I have seen them running outside and at large in the neighborhood. I have seen the dogs running loose as far away as 2 blocks from their house, and the family doesn't seem to do anything to contain the animals. The dogs have not come onto my property as of yet, but because of his dog's size. I have talked to several neighbors, and I'm aware these dogs act as a pack. They have been involved in several incidences where the dogs surround and then bite a neighbor. It is hard to tell which pack of dogs is the aggressive one as they move and as a team and then run off after biting. Again, the owners do not seem able to control or are willing to take action to stop these dogs. I am aware that the police have been called to the house for other issues and have made arrests for drugs and warrants. I believe that they have been cited for animal violations. I do not think that keeping this amount of dogs is a good idea in this situation. The family has not demonstrated interest in controlling their dogs. Maybe if they only had 2 dogs, then they would be able to do a better job, but it is clear that more than that is not working. David Van Erm signed that one.
Is David Van Erm a police officer?
He's a retired officer, yes.
Okay, thank you.
And then the one that was from Detective Kingston says, we got a letter in the mail, and he's the one that says he has no objections one way or the other. I'm trying to think if any of these other ones were signed. One of them was Doug and Kathy Hartman. One I cannot read the signature on, and the rest were anonymous.
Thank you
Well,
very
thank
much.
you for
That
that.
gives us a very good opinion of what's going on there. Thank you.
Thank you, Officer Mavis. That was way better than just the thing that we had. Thank you.
Right, yeah. So normally when we send out these neighborhood letters, those go back to the clerk's office. And they're supposed to get you guys a copy of them just so you have them to read over them. Some of them are handwritten, so I do apologize getting so close to the phone. They're kind of hard to read sometimes. They're handwritten, so.
But I do notice they're in there, but there's a lot of blank pages this time.
Yeah, most of the letters that go out, we tell them to write their responses on the reverse side of the letter, or they can do a separate sheet of paper, or they can type it, or whatever works. Sometimes people want to email them, then we print them. So the clerk's office just happened to scan the front and back. That's why you see that.
Sure, thank you. So we'll do a little business. Anybody else like to speak about this? If not, I'll make a motion to close the floor or ask for a motion.
Motion to close the floor.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
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 Alders, any discussion, thoughts, comments? How would you like to?
I'll make a
move
comment, Alter Stevens. From the amount of complaints, it doesn't look real good for them as far as how they're handling the animals. And Officer Mavis is not behind issuing them a third dog permit, you know, for that they'd have 3 dogs. So I think it kind of speaks for itself, you know. Somebody else can chime in if they'd like, but it sounds like there's been many complaints and it doesn't get any better.
I would agree. Alder LaFave?
Yes, I wanted to know too, well, I guess we don't know which dog, or maybe it's more dogs biting. So the 2 would be allowed. And right now, if there are more complaints after this, and there's problems with them going in and biting people, would you then recommend that all dogs be taken away?
No, so the city has a 2-dog limit. If people want more than 2 dogs or 3 cats, we always say, hey, convince us, let us know why you feel that you should be exempt from the city's ordinance. And usually these are people that have good track records. They don't, you know, they have control of their dogs, and that's why we allow them to be exempt from the existing ordinance. Now, if they have 2 dogs and you know, there's a repeated history of bites. If we have a dog that has bitten 3 or more times, myself and the health, if these instances happen off property, that we then deem the animal dangerous and explain to them that, hey, look, your dog has a history of repeated incidences where it's bitten other people or other animals, killed them. We are therefore declaring your dog dangerous. And it's to be removed from the Green Bay city limits within 5 days. They have the option to appeal of it. We try not to do that unless there's a pretty significant history. So, you know, I would say let them have their 2 dogs. And if there's anything, you know, where there's continued bites or violations, we take enforcement action for that. If there were to be bites or injuries that happen off property, we'd have to start looking at that and maybe possibly deeming a dog dangerous if they don't have control of it.
Okay, so right now, we're just, the request is to deny 3 dogs. That he can keep 2 for now.
That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
So I think I will entertain a motion to what, deny the denial of the application?
Yes, that would be the appropriate.
Okay, I'll make the
Barb?
motion that we deny the permit to have 3 dogs.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Little housekeeping. All items that are discussed here is a recommendation from this committee, and it will go to the next Common Council for final approval. Did I say that right?
That's correct.
You did, Elder.
Okay, perfect.
All
All right.
right, we are on
When is it?
So
You
item
didn't
number-
mention when the next meeting is, Craig. The
Oh, when
city
is the
council
next meeting?
April 26th.
April 20th.
26th. Tuesday,
The 20th, right? You say 26th?
26th. Yeah. Tuesday.
Okay, ready for the next one?
You
Yeah,
didn't- you
make
didn't
a
mention-
correction.
Craig, you didn't mention,
The council meeting is the 20th. The next P&P meeting is the 26th. There's some
Thank you.
confusion here. Okay,
Oh, yeah, I thought it was the 20th.
it is the
Craig, you didn't
20th.
mention,
Yeah, I was gonna
Craig
say,
didn't mention
I was-
the, that it was unanimous, that it was a unanimous vote to deny. Did you
Oh,
mention that? No.
Yes, a unanimous vote tonight. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, ready?
All right. Yep, we are on item 2.
Consideration with possible action on an application for the available Class B common license by Lisa. I'm gonna screw up her last name, but Burkowski, Burkow,
Pursues.
Urso.
Verso.
Urso. Thank you. At 2056 Main Street with a licensed premise described as bar with kitchen, previously licensed as Urso. Last stop until March 2021, when the license was surrendered to the city. Staff?
Yes, so law department doesn't have any statutory objections to the applicant. However, the police department does have some concerns that they want to share with the committee for the committee consideration or discussion. So I'll defer to Lieutenant Mahoney or Lieutenant Allen.
Police Department?
Hi, this is Lieutenant Mahoney. Yes, as Attorney Bungard said, there wasn't anything statutorily. I do know we have received multiple complaints on Bursos, some anonymous, some not anonymous. The old person that held the liquor license actually surrendered it back to the city instead of transferring it over. I received a phone call after Ms. Burso applied. It was a person very adamant that they did not want her to have the liquor license. They said there's drug usage going on, health code violations, excessive drinking. The state of Wisconsin actually sent in their ATF, their alcohol tobacco compliance. At that time, they did seize bottles from Ms. Burso. I don't believe she was cited, but at that time, she didn't have the license to be operating. She also didn't have the proper forms for some of the bottles of alcohol that she had on premise. And that was one of the complaints, that she was buying the liquor not through a distributor, which is required by law. Since she filed for this application, she was also arrested for an OWI offense that's still pending in municipal court. So it hasn't been adjudicated. So overall, there's nothing that says statutorily to deny it. It's just that we have severe reservations as the police department to grant this liquor license, as we believe it might become a problem establishment for us.
Okay, thank you. I see Lisa's, Alder LaFave.
I was also going to bring up, as this license was sent back to the city, I was going to also ask a hold on it to, I didn't have time. I have an issue that I'm dealing with here personally, and I didn't have time to go through and find our map. And again, I have an issue where we're saturating certain areas with liquor establishments and that. So I was going to also ask to hold it till our next meeting so I can research how many places on Main Street are actually where you can purchase, consume alcohol. So, but from hearing some of this too, I have concerns then with what I'm hearing from Lieutenant Mahoney.
Yes, Alder LaFave, this establishment, to give you, is almost right across the street from the Dunkin' Donuts on Main Street, in that little strip mall. There's also, I believe, a coin-op laundry service in there.
Okay.
But just to give you some idea where it's at, that is where this establishment is.
I bring up in our minutes when we go through, on here, there's never any map showing. It would be good if there be maps put in showing exactly, where these are located.
I could ask the city clerk to do that. I know normally minutes, they just put the agenda item that needs to be read.
Yeah.
That they can't put a
Mhm.
map in the actual agenda.
Yep, we can, I can also discuss this with the clerk's office, as they handle the creation of the agenda for protection and policy. So that could be a discussion with the clerk as far as, the capabilities of being able to do that.
Okay, thank you.
Alder Vanderleest, any questions?
I'm gonna ask one question of Lisa.
Okay, hold on. We need to open the floor.
Okay, motion to open the floor.
Second,
All in favor?
aye.
Aye.
The floor is open. Go ahead, Alder Vanderleest.
Lisa, I want to ask you one question. Is your business operating right now?
It is not since the license was surrendered, because we don't have a license on premises.
Okay,
I have been working on the bar, doing improvements to it and cleaning it up and all that stuff since then, in hopes of opening as soon as possible.
do you actually own the property then, ma'am?
I do not, I rent it.
Oh, you rent it, okay. I can't see a problem with, that particular area of Main Street as far as there's numerous taverns and bars along Main Street from one end right to the other. I don't see any problem with, operating there. If you can bring things up to compliance, that's all that, we're really interested in you bringing up to compliance and following all the rules.
Yeah, we do have the inspectors, everything the inspection found, we have fixed, and the inspectors are coming back tomorrow afternoon.
Okay. I don't see any problem with, you trying to get your business opening. Maybe you weren't familiar with all the rules and regulations as far as the.
And I was not, we were partners with the person, and we had a disagreement with them. We bought them out, and they were supposed to surrender the license to me so that I could apply for it at the same time and continue the business opened. And of course, obviously, they surrendered it to the state. They actually came in when we weren't there and took the license from behind the bar. All those calls and any of that happened before they took the license. Well, all the calls, I'm sorry, I misspoke. All the calls happened after they took the license. And we honestly believe that it was them that did the calls because they were all unsaturated. And as far as the ATF coming in, they told me that there was a limit of bottles that I could buy from the liquor store. I had no idea that you could not buy one. They are also the ones who took all of the paperwork off of the property. I had no idea that it had to be for 2 years. Trust me, I have learned a lot in the last 2 weeks.
Okay. That's
So
all.
were you operating the business with your partner, or was your partner doing it all?
They were the liquor license. All I did was manage.
So you
Yeah.
were there? Correct? You were there?
Yes.
I have a
Okay.
question of Lisa. When was the last DWI?
I did just get one. Like I said, it's still going through the court systems. I have a lawyer who's pleading me not guilty. The one before that was 1995.
Well, if you want to operate, why did you drive while you were drunk?
It was actually me and my husband's anniversary. Not that that's an excuse, but that's the only reason we were out that night.
Yeah. Doesn't sound good,
Ms.
Sorry.
Munger?
Yes, I'm here.
Regarding the current OWI charge, we cannot take that into consideration because she has not been found guilty.
Right, correct. We cannot deny her based on that charge because she hasn't been convicted of it, correct?
Correct. Okay. I just wanted to make that clarification.
Yeah.
Any other questions for Lisa?
No.
Alder Vanderleest?
Motion to close the floor.
Second,
All in favor?
aye.
Aye. Okay, motion, floor is now closed. Discussion?
Okay, Lieutenant Mahoney, you had reservations, right?
Yes, I did.
Do you feel, how do I say this? Yeah, this is hard because, yeah, you don't want to take someone's livelihood away from them or right to run a business, but Yeah, when you have reservations, it's a hard decision to make. Is there anything you can help us with?
Like I said, I'm just basing it on my experience as a law enforcement officer and dealing with establishments. It's more of the totality. I never want to take away someone's livelihood. I guess the question I would have, Ms. Burso said she was a manager under the former owner, yet now she's claiming that she learned a lot over the past couple weeks in terms of the liquor violations, where I would have expected if you're running or managing a liquor establishment before that, you should be very well versed in what the liquor laws are and what you can and can't do, especially if you have wanting to take over a bar, run a bar, tavern yourself. That you should be very well versed in knowing instead of playing ignorance, because the ignorance could come back where you
Well, you
are
gotta hold on.
criminally or civilly liable for it.
Mhm.
I believed what.
Lisa? Hold on.
Okay,
If we have to reopen the floor for you to speak. So,
I'll make a motion to reopen the floor.
Second.
all in favor?
okay,
Go ahead, Lisa.
Aye.
okay, sorry. I believed what the silent partners and the owner of the liquor license told me, because they had owned 9 bars previously. So I believed that they were telling me everything I needed to know, which they were not.
Lisa,
They
are
just kinda
they,
said- They literally told me that I could buy bottles of booze from the liquor store.
okay, the 9 other bars that they managed, are they, some of them in Green Bay? Are they outside of Green Bay? Other cities?
She is down to only owning 1 bar.
But what about the other ones before?
I do not know. Most of her partners actually bought her out.
Lieutenant Mahoney, do you have any information on these former owners?
I don't have any information. All I know is I was advised by the city clerks that the license was surrendered back to the city, which once again, through my experience, that if someone is transferring or selling a bar, this was very unique for me. That normally that's part of the selling, that it is transferred over. I don't know all the details. The PD probably never will know. It just seems very odd that this was the way that happened. That's kind of some of my trepidation on. I don't want to say it would be a bad establishment by any means. It's just the totality of the complaints, the state going in there, the way the license was surrendered, that we just have some severe reservations about this, but it will be up to the council or the committee and then ultimately the council to make their decision.
Yeah, this was
Lu-
all.
I have a
kind of-
question. I have a question for Lieutenant Mahoney. So if this, I don't know if you can answer this, but I'm going to put it out there. If this liquor license wasn't surrendered back to the city, would we be doing anything with this establishment?
Normally when a new owner takes over, we would go.
No, I understand that, but you made comments that the state came in, cited them for bottle violations. Would we be doing anything with them if it wasn't surrendered?
If it wasn't surrendered, I guess you would say it'd be on our radar to make sure that that they didn't have any more violations. I believe the state comes in and does a follow-up to make sure that they have all their proper paperwork, that they are purchasing through a distributor and not through a liquor store. Yes, we would probably start investigating more of the allegations if they continued, or if it's just a disgruntled former owner or employer that's just trying to deny this. If we keep getting complaints, we'd investigate it, or is it someone that's just does not like Ms. Burso, that's just calling and complaining during this time, but then we have no further complaints on it.
So regarding further complaints, we won't know about that unless we give her the license.
Correct. And I can tell you, when it was open, under the former liquor license holder. I don't remember then being, a significant number of complaints, if any, at the establishment. I know every tavern occasionally gets a call here or there, but it wasn't like this place was a place we were monitoring heavily at all.
So it sounds like it's possibly a disgruntled between two parties
Yes.
that's making it a headache now.
Yes, it could be. I just wanted the committee aware of all the information that we had so you guys can make your decision.
Oh, yes, definitely, definitely. Thank you for that. Lisa?
We opened on September 11th of last year and ran pretty much up until we had a disagreement with our former partners with no complaints, no problems, no cops showing up, nothing. It all started when we had the disagreement with them.
Okay. Alders?
Motion to close the floor.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, Lisa.
I'd like to make a motion, Craig.
Oh, I'd like
Alder
to-
LaFave.
I make a motion that we give Miss Bursu a chance to get her business up and get her license so she can comply with all the rules and let her move forward with her business on Main Street. I don't see any problem. I think she's going to try to do a good job, and thank you. That's my motion.
Alder LaFave.
Make a motion to hold this until I can do more research. When a license is surrendered in some of these areas, and I know Alder Van Lees feels there's not too many, but in areas there's too many liquor establishments. And I think we have to look at that. Once it's surrendered, then I think we can maybe do something. It's up to the committee and then the council to decide if one area is oversaturated. Is that right, Attorney Bunger?
Yes, that's correct. A basis for denial, or a reasonable basis for denial is proximity to other licensed establishments. So because this is an available license, it is within the council's discretion to not necessarily approve that close to other licensed establishments and potential for creating a disturbance in the neighborhood or affecting or having an adverse impact on public health, welfare, peace and quiet and cleanliness and
Okay.
et cetera. So that is a consideration that can be reviewed.
Okay, and I'm sorry that this is nothing against you, Lisa, in a way. I just feel that some areas we're just becoming too many establishments. And I just wanted a good look at that now we're talking about Main Street. The worst is University Avenue. But as long as the license was suspended, I was hoping that we could hold it till the next meeting. And I hope, maybe I should ask Lisa if that would be a big hardship.
No, I want to make a comment. So I understand what you're trying to do, Alder LaFave, but I don't think you're there yet. So I think it would be unfair to any Lisa or any business to hold this up because you're not to that point of doing the bar research. Am I correct, Joanne? I feel like you're putting you're doing one thing, but you're trying to combine them together.
No, I'm just asking that we hold it to our next
Yeah.
meeting.
I made a motion, Craig.
Yeah, can I second that motion, Joanne?
Yes, you
You
can.
can.
I will second that motion.
Well, then there's no reason for me to even continue with asking, because once you issue it, then we cannot pull it unless there is some real violation. So we're missing the opportunity if we are looking at trying to control the amount of establishments selling liquor in certain areas. We're losing the opportunity. We have a good opportunity right now. It's only another 2 weeks to hold it.
The thing
And
is,
I apologize because I'm sorry, I have a very personal situation here right now I'm trying to deal with. So I was not able to find the information that you would have liked for tonight.
Alder Vanderleest?
I just want to make one comment. As far as, trying to limit the number of bars that are serving liquor, and I think the city has pretty much addressed that issue. Years ago on Broadway, they were pretty saturated. They had too many bars. They removed some of those bars. And I think the city has a handle on that part, and I don't think we got to dig into that part. Here's somebody that's trying to run a business, trying to get a business up and going. And, this is a free market we're in here. And, COVID has been around. It's been pretty hard on a lot of and I take my hat off to somebody that wants to start a business and get things moving. And I say, let's give her the opportunity. And as far as, number of bars limited, that's another whole issue. Way with the, selling packaged goods at the gas stations. We open that up that they can do that. They can sell at the gas stations, and it's a free market, Cubs, not Cubs, but you take festival foods and
Yeah,
all
that's a
the,
problem.
Pick and Save. They all have, packaged goods that they can sell. We can't limit it, and the gas stations are in it as well. So as far as, limiting, I don't see any need to be limiting, people can make up their own minds. And I say, let's move forward with this.
Alder Vanderleest, you mentioned Broadway. Yeah, right. Where'd they all move to?
It doesn't matter where they
Street.
move.
Then we ended up all kinds on Washington Street.
The
They
ones
just
that
didn't
had a lot of,
Alder LaFave.
So that's,
Alder
so
Vanderleest.
that's nothing.
I understand where you're going, Alder LaFave, but I think that needs to be a total separate agenda item where it can be really looked at. So,
be a study done.
yes, a study. And you can bring that forward. So we need to vote on this. So it was a motion to approve, and now we need a vote. Alder
Motion to
LaFave. Oh, we already
Nay.
did that. Alder LaFave?
Nay.
No. Alder Vanderleest?
I approve.
Alder Stevens, yes. So that's 2-1. So Elisa, we're recommending approval, and this will go to the Common Council on the 20th, which is next week.
And Lisa, I
And-
just want to say there's nothing against you. Okay.
Okay,
All right, thank you.
thank you.
Attorney, you ready?
Yep, we are on to item number 3.
All right. Consideration with possible action on an application for a Class A liquor and Class A beer at 1698 Main Street with a licensed premise C-store. Currently licensed as Main Street Mini Mart LLC. Staff?
Yes, staff's recommendation is actually hold this item to the next meeting on the 26th, as apparently per the clerk's office this afternoon, they informed me that the bar plan, business plan is still pending approval. And so it just needs to be held for consideration until the next meeting.
All right,
Motion to hold.
Okay.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I know they're here, so and they're.
Lieutenant Mahoney,
Oh.
since I see Miss Appleton is here, we
Oh.
have been trying to reach out to her to get the bar plan done. I know she responded last Friday afternoon. I don't know if the time was set up yet, but I'll make sure our community please reach out to you in the next day or two so we could get the plan done.
Yes, I had tried to call numerous times and the number that I had wouldn't let me leave a voicemail.
Oh, okay. I know our officers received a message from you Friday afternoon. I will make sure that they reach out to you, like I said, in the next couple of days, so we could get this on the, I believe it's April 26th agenda.
Okay.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yep.
All right, thank you.
All right, we are on to the liquor violation report.
Police Department,
Happy to say we had no violations during this time frame.
make a motion or accept a motion, place on file.
Motion to receive and place on file.
Second.
Aye.
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 Okay, adjournment.
Motion to adjourn. I
All
don't
in
care,
favor?
either one. It's going back and forth between us two anyway.
Sure. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Have a nice evening all. Bye now.
You too.
Lieutenant Mahoney, I just want to thank you for all you've been helping me with, and I think we'll talk soon on another issue
Okay, thank you.
on Harold Street. You know that one.
Yep, okay.
Okay, all
Bye
right,
now.
bye.